Hi, I'm Shannon. I'm your Pampered Chef consultant for this party. Welcome to my tiny kitchen in Staten Island, where I'm going to be creating or cooking the sweet potato black bean enchilada casserole. So it almost takes longer to say the name of the dish than it does to prepare it. Here we go. First up, I have to chop a small onion. This is actually a pretty big onion, so I'm just going to use part of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my food chopper to chop what onion I want to use. And of course, right now I'm using my Sudoku knife. And if I had the knife skills, I mean, our knives are they're better than some of the ones that you get to register for when you're getting married. Oftentimes those brands have a professional version and the version they sell in the store. And so if you're not getting the actual professional version, ours is actually a better quality knife. And these forged steel ones have lifetime warranties on them. So we stand behind those knives. So let me just load my onion into my dish so that it gets ready. And I don't know if you're like me and need to prep onions because they make you cry, especially when you have like a whole full face of makeup on. If for no other reason than my hatred of onion, I have my food chopper. I've had this particular food chopper I've had for 15 years or so. I've just replaced that portion of it because we do sell replacement parts. But I've had this same chopper for forever. Okay? So that's my onion. Also in here, I'm going to put my sweet potato. Now, I prepped my sweet potato in advance and I stored it in my leak-proof glass bowl container in my refrigerator. And so now all I'm going to do is take it out. Now, this was pre-spiralized. Look at how tiny. Let me show you how thin the spirals are. Because we have 3 different blades on our spiralizer. I pre-spiralized this, and now I'm using our salad choppers to just sort of chop it up before I load it into my RockCrok. These are probably, I don't know if you've noticed this, but Pampered Chef has a tendency to name things based upon what they can do. And these are perhaps the worst named tool in our arsenal, because this does so much more than actually slice up vegetables. You can even cut through chicken bone with these things. So if you have a dish that requires shredded meats or anything like that, I highly recommend our salad choppers. I'm just going to load my sweet potato in here. I'm doing a lot. I love the sweet potato. So I'm taking a little bit of, I'm doing a little bit different than the recipe calls for. I'm posting the actual recipe in the group, but you'll see the difference between what I'm doing and what the recipe says to do. So I'm just going to put this in my microwave for 3 to 4 minutes. I'm going to do 3 and check on it. Hold on, so you're going to see my microwave door. Sorry about that. There's only so much I can do in this kitchen. I'll do 3:30. Okay, so on the way that goes. Now, the pan that's in is called a RockCrok Everyday Pan. I love my RockCroks. I love them so much that I have 4 of them. I have the Everyday, I have the Dutch oven. Both of those actually fit in the slow cooker stand, which I have. And I have the Casserole, and I have the round stone. Why do I love my RockCroks? The RockCroks can go in the microwave, obviously. They can go on the stove. They can go in the oven, under the broiler, and even on your grill. If you have one that has the glass top, do not put the glass top under the broiler or on the grill, but otherwise the pan itself can be used in all those places. It's also safe to put in your refrigerator, freezer, and in your dishwasher. So this pan literally can go everywhere. With the slow cooker stand, you can even turn it into a slow cooker. Why is that beneficial? Well, if you have a favorite slow cooker dish that you absolutely love that says brown the meat first, you don't have to dirty another pan. You brown the meat on the stove in your everyday or your Dutch oven, and then you take that and you plop it right in the slow cooker stand and you cook it. Another thing, like this dish right now, let's say I'm cooking now. This actually, another Pampered Chef consultant did this. She cooked and then came to our Pampered Chef meeting. Well, she wanted to keep the food warm for her family that was coming and going after she already left. She plopped it in the slow cooker stand, set it to warm, and left it there for everybody to eat when they got in. So that's the benefits of this pan. But back to our recipe. Our recipe calls for drained and rinsed black beans. So I'm just going to open my black beans. This is my can opener. It has this little hook on the side. Helps me with these pop tops because I have terrible, terrible fingernails. I don't know if anybody else has problems with their fingernails, but mine are terrible. So anyhow, I'm going to rinse it in our measuring colander. Give me 2 seconds. I want to get all these black beans out because this will be my source of protein for my dish. There we go. I got them. So why is this thing very useful? Well, in addition to being able to rinse on all sides of the colander because of the holes that it has, it also has measurements. Let me show you. See those measurements in there? So you can use it to measure your ingredients too as you rinse it. And this little hook, if I had a bigger sink that had like a center divider, or if I had a drying rack out here, you can hang the handle off the side of that and let your items rinse, okay? So that's my measuring colander. Pop those in there. Next up is my cumin. Oh, there's my sweet potato. Let me check on that. Yeah, I think those are pretty well, that's pretty well cooked. I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna mix this together. And throw some cumin in here. Now, we can use a teaspoon of cumin. I can either use my adjustable spoon set or my stackable set, whichever you prefer. It doesn't really matter. I have multiple sets. I have 2 of these and 1 of the others because when I do cook, I don't like to have to clean my tablespoon or whatever to keep going. Make sense? So whichever one you choose would work. So I'm just going to put a teaspoon of ground cumin in here. And mix that up. Okay. There we go. Oopsie. Shoot a bean. It's another reason why I like doing virtual parties. If I make a mess, I'm making a mess in my own house. Alrighty. There we go. So now, the way this recipe calls for 6 corn tortillas. I'm not actually using corn tortillas because I wanted to do a little bit of low carb. So the way this goes is now you start to layer. You place the tortillas in the bottom of the pan, pour half the sauce over the tortillas, then half of the filling, then half of the cheese. Repeat the layers. Okay? So I'll take 2 of these. Now I have to open my enchilada sauce. I'm going to use my can opener again. Now, this can opener, you might think, Shannon, it's a can opener, lady. What are you doing? First of all, it's not electric. So it can go in a drawer. It doesn't have to sit on my countertop in order for me to use it. Second of all, my nephews can use my can opener. I can post a video for you. But notice there's no gunk in my can opener, okay? That's because of the way it works. Now, when I do this, watch this. I'm not cutting myself. It releases the glue, so you don't have to worry about your kids cutting their hands on your metal cans. So I'm not really measuring, I'm just pouring in half of that, half the mixture. Squishing it around, right? I think that's about half. And then half of the cheese. Now oh, here it is. I pre-shred my cheese and I store it in my refrigerator, or I even freeze it using our graters. If you don't want to put that level of effort into your cheese, please be careful when you purchase your cheese and make sure that there's no cellulose in the ingredients. Okay, that's basically food grade wood pulp. Not a huge fan. Other brands will use stuff like potato starch. So if you're not on a low carb diet, that's okay. You can use that, but please do note that if you look at it, you actually have carbohydrates in there because of the potato starch. Okay? So just keep those little tidbits in mind if you're going to use pre-shredded cheeses. Or you could grate your own. It usually winds up being more economical too. So I'm going to cover it and cook it for 6 to 8 minutes just like this. And then I'm going to add a little bit more cheese and I'm going to put it under my broiler. Okay? And that's it. That's my dish. And half the time, quite honestly, half the time I don't even bother with the broiler because I'm fine with the cheese melted the way it melts. I don't need that. So look at that. In like 20 minutes, the most, you've got a really great dinner on the table, or even lunch, whatever, on the table. Have a good one.